Maybe.
One of Capitol Records' top recording artists, and he's here tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, put your hands together for Mr. Tim Wilson, a true Southern storyteller. Tell your Uncle BS story. That's one of the main ones.
First off, let's have a round of applause for Joby Sad and his lovely ukulele player and his lovely mother. A round of applause for Sam, who kind of pulled it out in the end, didn't sign up and still won. And the judges. Round of applause for the judges, the jury. Joby told me about this storytelling idea, and we sat out there on the sidewalk one day, and he was talking with me and Brian Dorfman, the fellow that owns the club, and I thought, that's kind of a weird thing. So I'm glad to know the first one turned out really well. So God bless you. In the course of being a comedian, you run into a lot of people over the years. And I make comedy records on Capitol Records, and I do basically warped comedy songs is what I do. So a lot of times I have to hire musicians and, produce records and all that. And I guess in about 1995, I had a kid that played the drums for me. His name was R.J. Veely, and he lived in Atlanta. And he played in the group called the Atlanta Rhythm Section, and one day they went down to Florida and were playing a show, and RJ died after the show. He came off the show, walked outside, got in the truck, and died. And Gary Wright was playing Dreamweaver when they were opening for Gary Wright, but everybody's too young to remember Gary Wright. Oh, Dreamweaver, I believe we can get me through the night. Hey, I can't get that. Gary Wright, Dreamweaver. So my friend RJ passed away. So I had to get another drummer. So I went down to Muscle Shoals, Alabama, and I worked with a fellow named Roger Hawkins, who's one of the great drummers of R&B history. And so Roger ends up getting tinnitus in one ear and kind of a messed up disc or something in his neck, and he can't play. So I'm thinking to myself, who am I going to get to play on my comedy record? And I wanted to make like a back porch sounding kind of a homey, swampy kind of thing. And I thought, I'm sitting there in a towel because I just got out of the shower. And I'm sitting out on my porch in a towel. And I still remember this just as plain as day. I thought, I'm going to get Levon Helm to play on my comedy record. I have never ever met Levon Helm, don't know anybody that knows Levon Helm, didn't know anything about Levon Helm, but I just decided that Levon Helm is going to play on my next comedy record. So I went to the bookstore and read his book and got on the phone the next day, and I didn't know who to call, so I called up the Chamber of Commerce in his hometown. It's the only people I knew to call. And I know the town, it's called Helena, Arkansas. So I call up the Chamber of Commerce in Helena, Arkansas. And I said, ma'am, I'm trying to get in touch with Levon Helm. And you're the only person I know to call. And she said, well, I know you can call a guy up in Memphis that runs a blues festival up there. So I called that guy on the phone. Turns out he was an old comedy club owner that fired me. But he didn't know it was me, so I didn't tell him. But he told me to call a guy who owned an antique store down in Helena, Arkansas. So I called him. His name was Buzz something. He told me to call a guy named Butch who lived in Woodstock, New York. Call Butch, he can get you in touch. Well, I call up Butch about 10 times, he never answers the phone. Finally, he answers the phone. And I got to explain to him, my name is Tim Wilson, I'm a comedian, Capitol Records, and this and that, and I'm going to make comedy records, and I wanted to get Levon Helm to play on my album. So he said, I'll give him a call and talk to him about it. Maybe he'll give you a call tomorrow. So later that night, I'm sitting at home, and the phone rings. And I pick up the phone, and I hear this voice. It's I don't know if you know Levon Helm, but he's got a great voice. He said, can I speak with Tim Wilson? And I said, this is he? And he goes, it's Levon Helm. How are you today? And I went, holy shit, I did it. I did it in like a day and a half. So he's on the phone, and this is like one of the great rock stars of all time. The band, I don't know if you're familiar with the band. He used to sing that song, take a load off Annie, take a load free, take a load off Annie, and you took the load right, put the load right on me. And he did The Night They Drove Old Dixie Down, and he was, but their band was the first band ever on the cover of Time magazine in 1968, I think it was. And I'm sitting in, he was in Coal Miner's Daughter. He played her father in the movie. So I'm just a huge Levon Helm fan. So I said, Mr. Helm, my name is Tim Wilson. I make comedy records. And Roger Hawkins down in Muscle Shoals got tinnitus in his ear, and he can't play on my record. So I wanted to see if you would come play on my record. And he goes, Roger's got tinnitus in his ear? Well, when did that hit him? I said, probably about, I don't know, maybe 6 weeks ago, but he can't do it anymore. He's got a messed up disc. He goes, well, I've never ever played on a comedy record before. And he says, how much you gonna pay? And I said, well, I can put you on the union and make you a leader. And he goes, I don't want to be in no unions. I said, well, I got to pay you one of them on the union just to put your name on the record. So $300 of it will be union money, and then the rest of it, I figure you'll probably get about $2,500. And he goes, well, that sounds real good, Tim. I think we can do better than that. So I had to pick a number out of the top of, he goes, how about this? How about you give me $5,000? And give Butch $500 for driving me down there. Give us a per diem, and if we do a good job for you, throw us a little bonus. Yes, sir, no problem. I can do it. So he called me back on the phone about 3 days before he was coming down, and he said, we need to pay some bills up here, Tim. They'd say if you could send me $1,700. So I went and wired him that. But they got in the car and drove 20 hours from Woodstock, New York, down to Muscle Shoals, Alabama. I walk into the Holiday Inn, and there's Levon Helm sitting there, and I thought, holy shit. So we go out and we eat Chinese food, and my songwriting partner, Danny Simpson's in the car with me. And so we get to talking about, all of this and that, la-da-da. So I brought up a fella, his name is, he played guitar in Journey. Neil Sean. Neil Sean, the great guitar player from Journey, because Levon played at Woodstock, and he lives in Woodstock, so I was just talking to him about Woodstock or something, and I said, did you ever meet Neil Sean? And he goes, Neil Sean? No, I ain't never ever heard of Neil Sean. He played in Santana. He played for Santana, and they played at Woodstock. You know Neil Sean, he was 14, played in the band. I ain't never heard of Neil Sean. I said, well, he played in Journey. Who? I said, Journey. The band Journey, the biggest band of 1981. They were the biggest band in the world in 1981. You got to know this guy. I ain't never heard Journey before. And I went, you're in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, you ain't never heard the damn Journey? You know, I'm getting pissed at him, you know. And he's like, I ain't never heard of Journey. I said, so who's your favorite band who is your favorite band? He goes, my favorite band of all time, I'd have to say Harold Jenkins and the Rockhousers. Harold Jenkins and the Rockhousers. Does everybody know who that is? Does anybody know who Harold Jenkins and the Rockhousers is? This is Levon Helms' favorite band of all time, Conway Twitty. He played in Conway Twitty. That's enough. I appreciate it. God bless you, and thank you very much.